Recently, there's been a massive uptick in people taking more interest into the power scaling of the movies of Dragon Ball Z. While some characters have been notorious for their strength for ages, like Broly, recently people have been making claims that Goku from the movies is actually one of the most powerful versions of the character, that he can not only beat his canon counterpart from Dragon Ball Z, but that he is also capable of fighting or even beating Goku from Dragon Ball Super due to some of his feats. Generally, people seem to believe that the movies are just automatically stronger than their canon counterparts inherently. But is this actually true? Today, we're going to go over the scaling and feats of Goku from the original 13Z movies and see how he actually compares to the power of Goku from the main canon continuity. I hope that by the end of this video, you'll have a better understanding of how the movies scale in Dragon Ball and how strong Goku is by the end of Dragon Ball Z. Comment down below who you think will win, and let's see if you were right or wrong. Before we do get into that though, I firstly wanted to thank you all for 20,000 subscribers. It is an absolute honor to be able to make these videos for you all. And because of it, I'm opening up channel memberships. This will let you see my videos early before they're released to the public, have more of a direct vote in which videos get released, and your name will be in every future video during your time as a member on this channel. Of course, there is no pressure, but if you want to influence future content and see it early, you now have an opportunity to do so. If you just want to see more from me, you can always also just follow my Discord server, or follow my Twitter link below. For this video, I'm going to be as comprehensive as humanly possible when comparing each movie version of Goku to his anime canon counterpart. For this comparison, we cannot treat this as an inverse comparison, unless the characters are directly compared in guides to canonical characters, as the movies take place in a different dimension from the main timeline, straight from the mouth of Toriyama. For example, we can't compare Dr. Wheelo to Saiyan Saga Vegeta, just because they both fought Goku who used Kaioken. However, we can compare Cooler to Frieza, as Cooler in guides is directly compared to Frieza. Thus, aside from these rare direct comparisons, we must compare the feats and statements the movie characters get in comparison to their canon counterparts. Luckily, Daizenshuu 6 tells us approximately when in comparison to the canon timeline every single movie takes place, while directly pointing out how these films contradict canon. With all this out of the way, I'm going to try and keep things quick because there are 13 whole movies to get through, so let's not waste any time and begin with the first Dragon Ball Z movie, Dead Zone. Starting right off the bat, Dead Zone is one of the more controversial movies when it comes to power scaling, as Garlic Jr. in this film opens up the Dead Zone, which is described in one guide as a hyperspace opened up by his heightened ki. Now, even if Goku does not scale to Garlic Jr. powers in this movie, which he obviously doesn't, this would mean that every movie villain after him would be able to replicate this feat with his power, as Koyama, the writer of the movies, has stated that each movie villain is stronger than the one who came before. But in my opinion, the Dead Zone is not as impressive as some people claim. While hyperspace can describe a higher dimensional realm, it can also just be a sci-fi term to describe anything to do with alternate dimensions or even just space travel. This is supported by how other descriptions of the Dead Zone and how Garlic Jr. open it are directly in opposition, calling it a type of black hole created with supernatural powers. So really, in this movie, Garlic Jr. has nothing actually impressive under his belt. Hell, the Dead Zone is not even able to suck up like a large castle. Obviously, this film takes place between the 23rd Budokai and the Raditz Saga. So, at this point, Goku's powers should already be above at least moon-busting levels of strength. This already makes him more powerful than any feats or statements for Garlic Jr., so first point goes to Canon Goku. World's Strongest. This is almost certainly the most easily forgotten Dragon Ball movie, despite the fact that it weirdly predicted the Android Saga and has some pretty good animation and action set pieces at times. But for this movie, we care about how strong the characters are. As will be the trend, we need to compare Goku to the villain he fights in this movie, who is Dr. Wheelo. Despite being a brain and a robot, it is confirmed that at full power, Wheelo is capable of destroying the Earth. However, while not even at full power, Wheelo could match and even directly tank this version of Goku's full power Kaioken x4 Kamehameha, meaning that Goku in this movie isn't even planet level at his max power. This also just further supports the fact that Garlic Jr. isn't actually some higher dimensional being, as Wheelo, who is stated to be stronger than him, can only wipe out a planet at his best. This movie is stated by the Daizenshuu to take place between the fight with Vegeta and early Namek Saga, meaning Goku at this point, at worst, still has a power level of 8,000 if he didn't get a Zenkai for being healed. This means that even with Kaioken times 2, Goku's power level of 16,000 already substantially exceeds the 10,000 power level that is stated to be capable of destroying a planet. Thus, once again, Canon Goku easily beats Movie Goku. Tree of Might. This is actually one of the easiest movies to scale, as it is the one film in the entire set of Dragon Ball Z movies that actually uses power levels. Now, assuming for the sake of ease that power levels as our system of measurement are the same between the movies and the anime, in this film, Goku is stated to have a power level of 30,000, and is able to use Kaioken times 10 to bring that power up to 300,000. For reference, that would solidly put him above the likes of Ginyu, but below First Form Frieza. Despite this film obviously being a movie version of the events of the Saiyan Saga, with an evil Saiyan and his henchmen invading Earth, it doesn't actually take place during the Saiyan Saga, and takes place between Goku arriving on Namek and the battle with Frieza. It means that we can directly compare the power levels of the two Gokus, with main Canon Goku at this point having a power level 3 times higher than Tree of Might Goku. While he never uses a similar level of Kaioken at this point, only whipping out times 20 against Frieza, even Kaioken times 4 would make him stronger than Tree of Might's Goku's Kaioken at the time, being 360,000 versus 300,000. Thus, Canon Goku gets another point. Lord Slug. Lord Slug is the first film in which characters from the movie are directly compared to canon counterparts. Guides describe Slug as being stated even more powerful than Frieza, that Goku used Kaioken times 100 to blow the hole through his chest. However, I do have some issues with this guide, namely that it seems to be just based off of King Kai's statement in that film that is simply his guess that Giant Lord Slug is stronger than both Super Saiyans and Frieza. By taking this at its highest degree, Goku with Kaioken times 100 can beat someone stronger or at least comparable to Final Form Frieza. When establishing when this movie takes place according to the Daizenshuu, King Kai's statement seems even less reliable. According to this film, it takes place before Goku goes Super Saiyan on Namek, meaning that this version of King Kai should have zero knowledge on Frieza's full power. Still, obviously, Goku couldn't surpass Frieza until going Super Saiyan, so when at least taking the highball interpretation, Movie Goku does win, while all other interpretations just put both of them below Frieza's full power. So I'm giving it to Movie Goku for his first win. Cooler's Revenge. I don't want to spend too much time talking about Cooler's Revenge because in a previous video I went over Cooler's scaling in a lot more depth than I have the time to do here. At worst, Cooler is stronger than Frieza after he transforms. However, based on how he thinks Goku surviving a single blast from him in base is a hint that he could beat Frieza, he arguably is stronger than his brother before even transforming, and then gets at least 20 times stronger in his final form. Goku in his Super Saiyan state is able to easily defeat Cooler, putting his full power at around 50 times what Frieza was. However, it should be noted that this version of Goku can't go Super Saiyan at will, as he only transformed against Cooler due to the emotions he reached from protecting his friends. Cooler's Revenge obviously fits quite nicely during the time skip of the Android Saga. At this point, it's hard to find a quantified difference between Goku's power and Frieza's at this point. Mecha Frieza is stated numerous times to be even more powerful than his Namek version, and that he was confident in beating Namek Goku, but he was absolutely powerless in comparison to Future Trunks, whose power is comparable to Goku's at the same time period. During the time skip, Goku gets even stronger over his training, but we have no idea by how much. Thus, to actually say how many more times powerful Goku is than Frieza is complete headcanon. But both film and canon make it very clear that Goku has utterly surpassed Frieza's tier by a massive amount. Even though Cooler's Revenge Goku is more easily quantified, only Canon Goku can go Super Saiyan at will, so I'm gonna give it to Canon Goku on this one. Cooler's Return. Once again, we reach one of the more controversial films when it comes to movie scaling, Cooler's Return. In Daizenshuu 6, we are directly told that Cooler's power has multiplied several levels, implying that he is more than twice as strong, but not much stronger than that. As is shown on screen and stated, a single Metal Cooler rivals the power of Super Saiyan Goku, meaning that he barely got that many more times stronger between the Cooler films. Of course, that is not how many people scale Cooler in this movie, claiming that he actually has infinite speed because he moved outside of time and grabbed Goku, who was using instant transmission. However, this is just blatantly ignoring the fact that Cooler himself is just stated capable of using instant transmission, and that in the movies, instant transmission simply isn't teleportation, but a type of dimensional travel through a, quote, movement space. So no, this doesn't upscale Cooler or anyone else in the movie. If I see someone use this to say that Dragon Ball GT has infinite speed again, I'm gonna lose it. This movie, despite its numerous contradictions with canon, is stated to take place between the week between Cell announcing the Cell games and the Cell games themselves. At this point, Goku has obtained Grade 4, aka Full Power Super Saiyan, meaning his power is more than 10 times greater than it was against the androids. For a more in-depth explanation about Grade 4 strength multipliers, check out my Super Saiyan vs. Gear 5 video. Either way, this is just a way bigger jump in power than the jump between Coolers in these two movies. Plus, at this point, while Goku obviously isn't quite as strong as Super Perfect Cell in a solar system level Kamehameha, he's at least fractionally comparable to it, which puts him vastly above any scaling in either of Cooler's movies. So, another win for Canon Goku. Super Android 13. I'll be honest with this one, this movie has literally no scaling, and technically takes place before Cooler. Even the Daizenshuu outright states that this movie takes place in a parallel universe from how egregiously it contradicts canon. Still though, at this point in the story, Canon Goku is either in the time chamber or is still sick from the heart virus, meaning it's either no contest or even more unfair for the featless Goku from Super Android 13. Canon Goku wins again. Next, we enter the stretch of films where Goku is either dead or the person they're fighting is Broly. Unless you've been living under a rock or something, you've probably heard about how the writer of all the movies and creator of Broly has stated time and time again that Broly is the strongest character he's ever created, and essentially no one scales to him. He also has one of the best feats in the movies, which is destroying South Galaxy, and is called capable of destroying the universe a couple times. However, the only time Goku is even remotely comparable to him is when his key components get amped by 1,000 times in movie 8, or when his Dragon Ball Wish Force Ghost is able to help push a still holding back Broly. It's still even implied that Goku in this movie isn't even real, so to say he scales to Broly is already being called into question by official material. Furthermore, while Cell is likely solar system level in the manga, the anime gives him as many universal and infinite power statements as Broly has, meaning that when ignoring Koyama's statements, they are still actually quite close. After this, there's Bojack, who has no feats, no scaling, and Goku is dead during the movie. The same thing goes for Bio Broly, so we thankfully don't have to talk about him. Finally, we reach the final two films, Fusion Reborn and Wrath of the Dragon. I'm putting these two together as the Toei website in the past have implied that Super Saiyan 3 Goku in these two movies is about the same strength, as they use him to compare Hyrudegarn and Janemba to each other. Fusion Reborn is often cited as the film in which Goku has his best attack potency feat, though there are some major misconceptions with some of the events in this film. A lot of people seem to be under the perception that the first form Janemba was the one warping the afterlife in its entirety and causing the dead to come back to life, meaning he was warping multiple realms of the Dragon Ball cosmology at once, making him low multiversal. However, we are directly told that all Janemba did was seal away Enma, which caused him to not be able to do his job. So this isn't actually a feat. Instead, the actual best feat that Goku has in this movie is shaking Grand Kai's planet while being in Hell. Depending if you think the universe in Dragon Ball is infinite in size or not, this is either a Universe Plus or the way less exciting multi-solar system level, as shaking something is way less impressive power-wise than actually destroying it. Even if Janemba did have impressive feats in this movie, Goku obviously wouldn't scale to it as he got beaten pretty badly by Janemba. As for Wrath of the Dragon, there aren't many statements, but the idea that Goku is potentially close to universe level is further solidified with Hyrudegarn being called a threat to the universe and being commanded to destroy the universe. But then again, the time frame is never exactly given, so it's more like galaxy to multi-galaxy level. But how does this compare to Canon Goku? Recently, a good find and fellow YouTuber of mine, Mr. Perfect Cell, made a video detailing Goku's power by the end of Z, going over the almost disgusting amount of statements calling different versions of Boo active threats capable of destroying the universe in a brief period of time. Even in guides for the manga, Fat Boo is described as having universe-busting power. Even lowballing Fat Boo to galaxy level, this still puts him over the multi-solar system level feat of Fusion Reborn Goku, if we are going to be skeptical about both of their power levels. In short, for almost every statement or feat you can argue for Movie Goku being Universe Buster or beyond, Canon Goku has like 3. So when tallying up everything across the board and looking at all the films compared to their canon counterparts, there's only one movie where it seems like Movie Goku has an advantage in power, which is weirdly enough Lord Slug. And even then, it is incredibly shaky victory at best and based on pretty unsubstantiated statements. I hope this video has now dispelled the belief that Goku is just magically stronger in the movies than his canon counterparts, because he quite blatantly isn't. I can kinda see where the perception comes from at least, as a lot of movie villains are obvious redos of canon arcs that try to give them more hype than the originals. Turles just being a stronger version of Vegeta, Cooler being a stronger Frieza, Janemba being a stronger version of Fat Boo, but the problem is that the main story has already moved on from that point and was already dealing with bigger, stronger, and entirely new threats, while all the movies could do was mostly just rehash the past. If you disagree with my scaling today, join my Discord server, @ me on Twitter, or let me know how I was wrong in the comments down below. See ya!